It's 23rd of January 2009, 7:57 a.m., almost 8 o'clock. It is day 37 of being off of my Effexor, being medicine free. For the most part, I feel okay. I feel alright. The brain zaps only lasted about maybe a good week while weaning off, and the dizziness lasted only about a week and a half. And then that went away. I guess I can sort of say that I feel liberated. I feel that things are a little bit more clearer, and I'm able to focus a little bit more. Although there's still things that I'm going to have to manage. Now that I've done this, my next step would probably to be either to lessen my smoking to the point where I can quit, or to try to look into getting the mercury removed from my mouth and my system, since I do have leached amalgams and stuff is in my system. The smoking part, though, will be easier, although difficult in its own right, but it'd still be easier to do. The mercury part is a little bit beyond my control. I don't have any coverage to get them removed and have the fillings replaced with alternatives. It's not covered. Mass Health is not really accepted, except if you go out of town to like Greenfield or Worcester, so I don't really have that mean. I am nervous about that and what could happen later down the line, later in years in my life. I'm just going to have to work with that when that time comes. Well, the smoking part would be a lot more easier to do or to try. I did quit once back in 1993 for like a week, then I went back. I would have to do this entirely on my own too. Of course there are groups around, but usually you gotta pay for the stuff that they have, like the kits and stuff, and that stuff's not covered anymore. I've checked it out. I can't afford $60 or $180 for a 3-pack kit for like doing the steps and stuff, so this would have to be something I would have to entirely do on my own, and I would do it the same way as I did the Effexor. Of course the smoking would be more addicting and would be kind of difficult, I would assume, to kind of taper down from. But people have done it, I guess, and I guess it's possible I can do it too. You know, I've always thought about whatever happened to the little kid inside of each and every one of us, and, you know, there are times I reflect a lot, even more so at the present. Now that I can think a lot clearer, I can analyze better. I don't know, I just think that the little kid really isn't lost. It's just buried deep down inside of, like, the innumerous amount of layers that are inside of her own container. Sort of like, I guess you can compare it to the everlasting gobstopper. There are many layers of colors and flavors or whatever. The kid is just there, but you just don't feel it anymore, and it's all those layers are all about growing up and awareness, society, chemicals, and all that great stuff. But once in a while, when you least expect it, the little kid does come out, and it's usually very short-lived though. But it's the excitement that we all have that doesn't come too very often, that feeling of the little kid does come out. So I don't see it as being totally lost, I just see it as kind of being forgotten through conditioning and growth and stuff like that. I wouldn't want to be a kid again. Figure about one time is enough. Yeah, many people do wish that they could be a kid again, but when you think about it, knowing what you know now and what you've been through would be too much for the mind and soul of a little kid, really. And it would taint it. Plus, by having a second chance of repeating certain things again, it would alter the course of the future or the present, such as like now. Like you wouldn't probably be at the job you're at, you probably wouldn't have the family you have, you wouldn't have the type of lifestyle, thoughts, beliefs, feelings. It's getting a little noisy here. Approaching traffic. I'm on my way to the cemetery to do an EVP session. I don't know on whom though. I guess I'll figure out when I get there. Back in the middle of last year was not a good time for me. You know, I was going back through my past and stuff like that. And I was ended up trying to get in contact with some people from my past and stuff like that. And to say either hi or, say, hey, sorry for, whatever I might have done or something like that. And Yeah, things could have been a little bit better, I think, when I was younger, when I was a kid, because I wasn't really as talkative. I didn't really hang out with people. I really didn't participate in many of the things, such as like school dances and all that stuff. I was basically in kind of a haze in my own little world, and the only time I did go out was to like my junior semi-formal and my prom. I went to my junior semi-formal with my cousin Heather. It was a mock-up date. And I went to the prom with a friend that set me up with another friend. Wasn't really going to go to my prom, actually. I almost didn't go when I was talked into it. Food was alright, though. Can't complain about that, I guess. I got into a phase last year where I was just like, I felt rushed, like to get things in my life very organized and to restudy a bunch of stuff that I failed to do in the past. And stuff did come back to me, but I felt very pressured, and I kind of had a little bit of a breakdown. Then I had to keep telling myself that there's nothing you can do about the past, and you have to just let it go. Just let sleeping dogs lie. Part of me does feel, though, if things were different or I acted differently or made myself available to people back then, I think that maybe things would have been a little bit different. I genuinely believe that deep in my heart. So back then I did have this recurring thought and kind of semi-regret that I wanted to do things over again and start off fresh. But thoughts and stuff like that are futile. But over the months from last year, I got out of that clique and basically came to terms with a couple things regarding my past, and I'm doing good. Since I'm not on the medicine anymore, I'm able to think and analyze and be logical, have my own reasoning that is of my own. Or I said I was going to do an EVP session, but I'm not sure now. I just wanted to get out my apartment. Sometimes I just make that as an excuse just to get out. Of course, my mind can change at any time about that. But with that, that's all I can really talk about, I guess, now, or think to talk about. So, that'll do it. Thank you for listening.